Loss for the Minnesota Wild against the Arizona Coyotes at home. We break down everything that happened, including an 0 for 6 on the power play for the Wild as our Locked on Wild postcast starts right now.
You're Locked on Wild, your daily podcast on the Minnesota Wild. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into yet another Minnesota Wild postcast as the Wild falls short 5-3 to the Arizona Coyotes at home. And Seth Topol joined by Kevin Gorg. Before we break down all of the action, our Locked on Wild postcast tonight brought to you by HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. You can skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. You can get farm fresh, seasonal produce and easy-to-make recipes delivered right to your door every week. Ingredients travel from the farm to your doorstep in under a week, so they always arrive fresh and all without a trip to the store or the farmer's market. So head to HelloFresh.com/LockedOn16 and use the promo code LockedOn16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. Again, head to HelloFresh.com/LockedOn16 and use the code LockedOn16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts, all from HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Seth Topol joined by Kevin Gorg. And Kevin, a tough one here against an Arizona Coyotes team that comes in with nothing to lose. They've got some youth in the lineup. That always is kind of a tricky thing to contend with. And on this night, they just got the best of the Wild.
Yeah, really hard to envision this happening with the way the Wild have been playing, but they have been playing their guts out recently. And, you look at the way this game played, the longer Arizona hung around, the more dangerous it got. They got up 3-1 in the third period. The Wild had a quick, furious rally to make it 3-3, and then had a power play shortly after that. And in the end, that was the real killer tonight. The theme of the night was the power play did struggle. And so it's hard to get real disappointed with the Wild when you look at the schedule and you realize this is their second regulation loss in their last 22 games. But timing is everything. And with the push for home ice and St. Louis in Denver playing the Avalanche, a great opportunity to get a stranglehold on having home ice for that series is lost tonight by the Wild.
We saw the return of Marcus Foligno and Jordan Greenway to the lineup, and you saw the immediate dividends as Foligno picks up a goal, and the Grief line just continues to do their thing. And so, some positives despite the overall results. Just great to see those guys back out on the ice.
Yeah, and the most important thing is they looked like themselves. Greenway's missed 7, Foligno's missed 4, and the Grief line was awesome. Eck got a goal. Foligno had a goal and an assist and was a +2 player. And, it was fun to see them throwing their weight around. When you page forward to what lies ahead, when it really matters, starting Monday in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, that line can be such a difference maker for Dean Evason's hockey team. And I think the reason home ice really matters in that series is it's going to be a matchup series and a chess game because these teams are so evenly matched. And when you have that trump card to play with those 3 guys that are the best shutdown line in the National Hockey League, that really matters when you've got last change on home ice.
We saw some more just frankly insane plays by Kevin Fiala, drawing a couple of penalties, which led to power play looks that didn't materialize in anything. But, Kevin Fiala continues to be a huge bright spot for this team, not only when he scores goals, but also when he just flat out outskates people.
Yeah, we had a chance to talk to Kevin at the rink this morning after their morning skate, and he admitted this is the best hockey he's ever played. He mentioned that, he's gone through a stretch right now where he's starting to really figure it out. And he said the line has so much chemistry that he praised Freddie Gaudreau and Matt Boldy, and he admitted that Matt Boldy coming into the lineup back in January really ignited his game. And he felt like, the chemistry they have, knowing they've got a center like Gaudreau that they can trust to win faceoffs and play that good defense, has taken them and his game to the next level. And so, if you're looking at game breakers in a series right now, and certainly St. Louis trying to shut down this Wild team, it probably starts with Kaprizov, but not far behind that game plan will be 22.
Kevin, let's talk a little bit about the power play. 0 for 6 tonight, and it seems like when things are not going well for this team, there is an overabundance of passing and not a lot of shooting. Did we see the same sort of trends here tonight, or what leads to a number that stands out so much as an 0 for 6?
Yeah, I just had a chance to talk to Marcus Foligno here about 20 minutes ago, and he mentioned that the way Arizona was killing by clogging up the middle of the rink, you had to do a better job of getting the puck to the net and then crashing, because they were looking for you to make that extra pass, because sooner or later they were going to deflect that pass and get possession and clear the puck. And Marcus thought the Wild didn't really react well to that scenario. And, he said they have to be better. 0 for 6 at this time of the year isn't going to get the job done. And, you get a goal or two on the power play and you likely turn that score around and get the 2 points. So they were disappointed. If you look at it, honestly, from who was in the lineup and who wasn't, Matt Zuccarello is your best passer on that top power play. Jared Spurgeon's phenomenal in those scenarios, and Matt Dumba's not to be overlooked as well. So it's a weird time of the year. They're trying to get everybody healthy. They're trying to get rest. Yes, they want home ice. Yes, they're trying to win every single night, but it's a balancing act right now, knowing you're already in and knowing who you're going to play.
We'll talk a little bit about Jared Spurgeon and Matt Dumba to finish things up. Also, a little MarcAndre Fleury before we look at the Calgary Flames coming up. But first, one of our other sponsors for tonight's Locked on Wild podcast is Rock Auto. With the ever-increasing numbers of makes and models, it's now impossible for your local chain auto parts store to stock all the parts you need. Why endure often pointless or seemingly intimidating questioning like is your Odyssey an LX or an EX, and why wait while the person behind the counter orders the parts on their computer, choosing the only brand their warehouse happens to carry? You have computers with access to rockauto.com at home and in your pocket. Plus, you can save time and money when using Rock Auto. Why choose to spend anywhere from 30 to 100% more on the same parts from a chain store or car dealership? RockAuto.com is a family business serving do-it-yourselfers for over 20 years. So head to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or truck. Make sure to write Locked On in their How Did You Hear About Us box so they know we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need, all at rockauto.com. Minnesota Wild lose tonight 5-3 to the Arizona Coyotes. They've got the Calgary Flames coming up on Thursday before the Colorado Avalanche on Friday to finish off the regular season. Kevin, what did you think of MarcAndre Fleury's night tonight, getting the third consecutive start, trying to give him a little bit of a routine heading into the playoffs? What did you think of Fleury in net?
Well, he was awesome early. I thought it was one of those games where, Minnesota clearly didn't bring their absolute A game, especially defensively. So there were some breakdowns. He had a couple of unbelievable saves. Fleury-like saves, acrobatic saves. He did lose his stick twice. And then as the game went on, like the team, I thought the third period might not have been his best. And I had a chance quickly when he came off the ice to kind of read his body language, and he was extremely disappointed. And I think right now, clearly they're trying to get him right for the playoffs. You bring him in as a would-be Hall of Famer and a guy with 3 Stanley Cup rings to be somebody you count on come the postseason. You've got 2 great options. And Dean Evison mentioned this morning they're going to play both guys later this week in the back-to-back home games against Calgary and Colorado. And although right now, if you're reading the tea leaves, it looks like MarcAndre Fleury will be the starter in game number 1. It's really hard to overlook what Cam Talbot's done here in the last month. In fact, I would argue it's his best hockey in a Wild sweater. So we'll see how it plays out. I still think they're trying to kind of figure out how they want to play this thing. I think both guys will make an impact in the playoffs, especially if the Wild go on a run. I really do.
Yeah, I fully agree. Some good news on Jared Spurgeon. It sounds like Dean Evison is pretty encouraged by where he's at currently. So the hope is that I'm sure he'll be either ready or close by the time the postseason starts. And it sounds like Matt Dumba is going to get worked into at least one game here before the postseason starts. So some more reinforcements, it sounds like, are pretty close to coming back for the Wild as we gear up for these final 2 games.
such important pieces. Again, they've got depth on the blue line, and you look at some of the unsung heroes on the back end that you don't think about. You think of Jordy Ben and Alex Goligoski and the years they have put together. Both likely might find themselves in the press box when the Wild are fully healthy on that blue line. Spurgeon clearly dodged a bullet. I was on the glass when he got hit. It was a very awkward position to get hit. It was an upper body situation, which you always worry about with a defenseman. And Dean Evason seemed very encouraged today, but until you see him back out there, who knows when that's going to happen. With Matt Dumba, he's been skating, and I think conditioning-wise, from talking to him last week, he feels great. It's going to come down with that upper body injury to how efficient he can be moving the puck and, more importantly, shooting the puck. So that's something to watch if and when we do see him later this week. I think he's still more of a game time decision come playoff time, but Dumba's always been a guy that when he's out there, plays a physical brand of hockey and searches out contact and hits. And I think with what he's dealing with, you want to make sure he's as close to 100% as possible before you roll him out there.
Next up for the Wild is the Calgary Flames, and Calgary fighting amongst the rest of the Western Conference. Pretty locked in. In fact, I believe they are completely locked into their spot in the playoffs. And so whether they rest people or they give everybody full bore on Thursday's game will be something to keep track of. But for the Wild, they get a chance to try to get a little revenge on a Flames team that had some good success against them early in the season.
Yeah, I wonder how both teams are going to play this game. It's, again, this late in the year, knowing the games with Calgary can be extra physical. I wonder how Dean Evason will play this. I mean, I'm fairly certain you won't see Dumba or Spurgeon. And I'm not sure on Matt Zuccarelli. He wouldn't give us much of a clue on that this morning either, but I would say it's probably doubtful. So you're going to probably have some ham and eggers in there. Look for the Dewars and the Duhaimes and some of those guys to get a little extra ice time. Calgary tonight won an unbelievable game. They tied it up with 0.1 on the clock and then won it in overtime at Nashville. So the Predators have lost back-to-back aorta smashers. And, Calgary is coached by Darryl Sutter, and Seth, he's an old-school coach. So if you're thinking they're going to rest guys, I think you're going to be surprised. I don't think he has any it doesn't give me any indication anyway that he's that type of guy. Maybe they will if they've got a couple of guys that are banged up, but otherwise I think you're going to see Calgary come out in typical Flames fashion, play physical, be in your face, and the Wild are going to have to be ready for that.
A tough one tonight against the Coyotes, but ultimately the Wilds have greater designs in plan than a regulation game against Arizona. So some positives to take away, but at the end of the day, some things to shore up as well. And so that's where we'll leave things with our postcast here tonight. Kevin, thank you for the time as always, and we'll see how things go against the Calgary Flames, and then one more game after that to kind of get us ready for the postseason, which I can't believe it, but it starts next week already.
Monday night, it's going to be game one, either here or St. Louis. So 2 more dress rehearsals. Hopefully the Wild can figure out a way to squeeze into home ice. But bottom line is that's going to be an unbelievably good series against St. Louis. So look forward to chatting with you after the game on Thursday and Friday, and we'll set it up for a big playoff run starting Monday.
For more on the Minnesota Wild, make sure you're following Locked On Wild wherever you listen to podcasts.